Hi everyone and welcome back. We're just going to head into TharnType. We're going to be watching the special long side story. From what I can see here, it's just over 18 minutes long, if you include credits, end and beginning. So I'm not sure how long the actual reaction will be, but I think this is the most intrigued I will be about the whole of TharnType, because Lhong is a character that has sneaked his way in bit by bit each episode. And I want to know why he's become so obsessed with Tharn to the point that he would let a partner of Tharn's be raped. It's a serious crime. It's also, I'm intrigued of why he became so obsessed to the point that he would do that to another human being just to get Tharn. So I think we're going to get a bit of his childhood in this, I imagine. Maybe it was abusive, or he wasn't loved, and he was alone all the time to the point that when Tharn became his friend, that he latched on and became too obsessed and too clingy, thinking that he might lose him. But there's obviously sociopathic tendencies with Lhong. Because they always, that question is anyone inherently evil? And we're going to find out. So we're just going to get into this.
ทำไมไม่มีใครต้องการกูเลยวะเป็นอะไรของมึงเนี่ยก็กูบอกแล้วไงว่ากูจะเป็นเพื่อนมึงเสมอเพราะงั้นนะ
Okay, so that's an intriguing way to
ถ้ามึงมี
start.
ปัญหาอะไรเมื่อไหร่กูจะรีบมาหามึงเลยจริงนะจริงนี่
That's nice.
แล้วไอ้ทานเป็นไงบ้างอ่ะ
Didn't we just watch this in the last episode? Is it just gonna be mainly retracing the episode? Is this not an actual story? This looks different, the camera pan back from the previous episode. It was at a slight angle before, which really highlighted Lhong's warped sense of reality. Do you know what? I wouldn't even have recognised him right there for some reason. I feel like he looks completely different. I guess he was talking about himself. But he doesn't look innocent to me. That must have played into his psyche. It's already quite warped. Just that little moment there. There you go. Planning something right then and there he was. I really appreciate actually these little moments where it just pans in on Lhong. How did he think he was ever going to get away with it? To me he's really obvious. That was a nice moment to cry. 2 tears at the same time falling. Well, what's he supposed to do? He was just broken up with. So why does he not understand what he's doing to Tharn is hurting him more than what any of these guys could ever do with breaking up with him? Well, look to your left and you'll realise why. That might, as much as Lhong is to blame, leaving you alone could be really dangerous in your state.
มึงคิดว่ามันจะดีใจไหมล่ะที่เห็นมึง งทำร้ายตัวเองแบบนี้อ่ะ
Alright. So he is manipulating the
แม้ว่ามัน
situation.
จะเลิกกับมึงแล้วก็เถอะ
Is he falling asleep? Yeah. Passed out drunk. Drank a lot. Was that a trigger to his childhood? Where's his family? Is he an only child? Because I imagine being an only child could be incredibly lonely. Did you see the type of phone that kid has there? This is a flashback. I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have that phone at that point. Right? It's a bit advanced.
นี่ก็ไม่ใช่ที่ของเราอ่ะ
Did something happen to him as a kid, or was it just because he was always alone? It's making a lot more sense now.
ก็กูนี่ไงที่ต้องการมึงอะแล้วก็กูนี่ไงที่จะเป็นเพื่อนมึงเสมอ
Oh, and he's latched onto this.
ที่มาหามึงเลย
Probably not the best thing to say to this person.
คือเพลงนี้มันต้องร้อง2 คนอ่ะ กูหายใจไม่ทันอ่ะ มึงช่วยกูร้องหน่อยนะ
โอ้ไม่เอาไอ้หลงกูดูคอร์ดอยู่อ่ะก็ร้องไม่ดี
มึงก็ดูเนื้อไปด้วยดิ
Tharn does not care
ตรง
for
นี้นะ
that at all. I like how they're lit as well. I know it's to highlight it's a flashback, so the colours are supposed to be brighter, but it almost seems as if they've got an aura around both of them.
เกิดเขาไม่หรอเห็นหัวกูแล้วมั้ง
No, he just wants sex.
กูเห็นมึงมีเพื่อนเที่ยวเยอะแล้วไงมึงไม่เหงาหรอกรู้ได้ไงว่ากูไม่เหงา
Just because you can be surrounded by people does not mean you're lonely. You're not lonely.
แต่ถ้ามึงมีอะไรอ่ะ มึงต้องรีบบอกกูเลยนะเว้ย มึงอย่าลืมนะว่า กูเพื่อนมึงนะ
กูรักมึงนะ
But not in a healthy way. That's the problem. Now that was 11.5, the side story of Lhong. Now, just before we get into this, I'm not siding with what Lhong has done to Tar. What he did was disgusting, it was evil, it was to hurt the person he supposedly loves, but I actually really enjoyed that side story. It gave me a lot more understanding of Lhong and why he became the way he did. I didn't think we needed the beginning, because that was just a rehash of the last couple of minutes of the previous episode, including that they changed the angle of the camera, which was a bit frustrating because the way they had it turned to the side when it panned out really highlighted Long's warped sense of reality. So for this episode, it was great to just get that moment where they're in Tharn's room. I do think Tharn is quite dramatic, and I forget they're only about 19. I think it's 19 his birthday was, because him saying he can't live without type, especially at such a young age when he hasn't experienced life in really any real significant way yet. And so that was a highlight of how young they are and how dramatic they can be. He drank away his sorrows, Tharn, which a lot of people do. It's a common thing when you're suffering from heartache, even stress, just means to help you relax is drinking. But he went in excess to the point where he passed out. And then finally it went into the backstory of Lhong, which I wish they had gone in a lot more. I do wish this episode had been longer in that sense, or just had more of that, because it was so quick and so passing for him as a child that I'm sure audience just went, is this it? This is what it was? But you have to look at the long-lasting effects it had. His family wasn't there. He was alone completely in that house. I didn't see a single person with him. No siblings, no au pairs, nannies, help to look after him. His parents obviously are very busy, but that breeds loneliness. When your family's away from you for long periods of time, it really does mess with your mental state. And all he had was that up-to-date phone for the time period. That was a bit weird. But what's happened is he's been so alone, and it's damaged him so much that he's felt that his family never loved him. So if his family can't love him, why would anyone else even think to love him? And then there's Tharn. He came into his life when they were at school, and you can see caring for Lhong. But this is the point where Lhong's mind warps that friendship into something more, because he's afraid to lose Tharn, and that's losing to anyone, because all he thinks he has is Tharn. And that's a scary thing, because when you become so obsessed with someone where you think they are the orbit, they are your center, and you are gravitating towards them, just them, then you become obsessed. And that's what we see. We see him afraid to have nothing in his life because he thinks he's worth nothing. And Tharn makes him feel good. But Tharn has never once showed any interest. In fact, he showed more annoyance throughout this than of any interest towards Lhong. And that's warped his mind to such a degree, and he's gone through such a mental breakdown that he thinks any man that comes into Tharn's life must be eradicated, must be taken out. And Tharn is so naive that he just believes it's always him, not thinking that it might be a pattern. And this is what's happened. We've seen Lhong completely destroy Tharn's love life, and in fact has hurt the person he supposedly loves the most. And that's not going to make him cling to Lhong and all of a sudden realise, oh, you're the one I want. It's going to make him push away, it's going to make him isolate himself, it's going to make him alone. Lhong does not realise this. He has become so jaded in what happened to him, and so callous and so calculating, that he's not realising the big picture in front of him is you're hurting the person you love the most. And when they find that out, they will never forgive you. And also, how does he get away with what he does? One, the looks that he tends to give, the evil half smiles, smirks, how no one has seen that. And also, how has no one found the holes in his stories? If you just put the pieces together, you can see he's lying. He's just very good at manipulating people around him by using buzzwords or certain words. For example, we saw that in the episode where he said if it wasn't for Type telling him to look after Tharn, he wouldn't be there. That just using Type's name made Tharn eat. It made him do what Lhong wanted. But in the end, Lhong was always just the bridesmaid. He's never going to be the bride. He's always going to be the one in the shadows looking into the light. He should have moved on a long time ago. But people who become obsessed don't. And it can become scary, as you see. It's almost a Fatal Attraction-esque element to it, because he got men to rape Tar, to hurt an innocent young boy, just for the sake of wanting control and comfort in your best friend who doesn't see you in anything else but as a friend. Now I'm intrigued what they're going to do for episode 12, but at least this helped me understand Lhong a lot more. Doesn't mean I agree with what he did or think he's a good person, but it does show what happens in your childhood can have such damaging effects at it goes into your adult life, and then from there, if you do have, I guess, those tendencies to warp your reality, this is an outcome. So thank you for watching the side episode with me, and I really hope you all stay safe, and I will see you soon for episode 12.